Welcome back to Sunrise Daily. It's just 29 minutes, yeah, 7:30 if you call it that. We're coming to you live from Uyo. Yes, Democracy Day they did hold that gathering here yesterday. We're joined now by Udom Emmanuel, who is the Secretary to the State Government, Secretary to the Akwa Ibom State Government. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you.
Well, let's start off with democracy. Speaking about Democracy Day, yes, there was that fanfare yesterday in the state. But what would be your impression? Do you think democracy is actually taking root as it ought to? Because we've got a lot of challenges we face now in the country.
Thank you. If there were no challenges at this initial stage, I would have been a little bit surprised. If you look at yesterday, we celebrated 15 years of uninterrupted democracy. Even if you come through the natural route, a child of 15 years cannot still stand alone. In most of the developed nations, it's from 18 years. So at 15 of uninterrupted democracy, we expect some challenges. And the issue is not challenges in life, it's how you handle those challenges. As of today, are we able to handle them? Are we able to still stay together? How are we trying to take care and mitigate some of the risk that are trying to rear its ugly head? But I think based on what I saw yesterday at the stadium, the excitement on the face of an average Akwa Ibom person, and even when we had the state banquet, a toast was proposed by an ex-military administrator of the state. He said that he had tested both sides of governance, and he will anytime, any day go for democracy. And that was a real testimony of what we've achieved so far.
How are you coping with administration in the state? Yes, it's a democracy. Ideas have got to contend. People speak up about different items. People criticize constructively or otherwise. But you're in the saddle now. What do you think?
It's interesting for me. Why is it interesting? It's because until you see both sides, you will never appreciate. Because what you see from outside is totally different from what is inside.
When you say outside, you were in the private sector.
Absolutely.
And now you're in. So, okay, go ahead.
What you see from outside, I said, is different from what is inside. Once you're in the private sector and then you just look at government in a totally different eye, you use a different binocular to actually assess what the art of governance is. But once you now come in and then try to contribute your quota, you now discover that it's a little bit more than what you actually perceived it used to be. It's interesting for me in the sense that this is the real time I'm dealing with the grassroots. This is the time I'm having that mixed. The educated, the elitist, and probably the uneducated, the little child. Totally different from, the corporate world that you're just dealing with people that really understand what they stand for. Here you must do something that will take care of even an unyet born baby. And it creates a lot of excitement for me that a decision I take today should be able to influence what happens tomorrow about a little child, a little Akwa Ibom child, and also should create a future, create hope, create probably what will give them a competitive advantage anywhere in the world once they stand to their own age or even once they become a teenager. So that's why I say it's a little bit more exciting. And above all, it becomes a little bit more exciting because everything revolves around leadership. If you still remember your 7 A's of management, style and shared values create a whole lot of what the enabling environment is for you to actually govern. We have a leader in which your style of leadership had actually created a whole lot of enabling environment for us to excel and for us to actually take decisions that we must at least ensure that in the nearest future, starting from even now, to ensure that an average Akwa Ibom person is actually standing tall anywhere in the world.
There are a lot of issues here. This second time for me personally coming to see Akwa Ibom and go around the town. Let me use the cliche that is being used here on common transformation. Perhaps when you came on the saddle, we'll look into your office basically, but what uncommon input have you put in your office that the average Akwa Ibom person can say, well, this is the difference between what was and what is?
I will attribute that to a clear case of having a captain in a ship. There can only be one captain. So if there's only one captain, assessment must come from leadership. And in this case, it will be totally not too in a proper perspective for me to start assessing myself.
No, it's not an assessment, because sometimes you come into an office, sorry to butt in there, you come into an office, you have to reorganize the office. I've actually had talks with some people, and when he came into that office, he realized that his governor had no time for governance, because a lot of people were always coming in, day out. So he had to create a schedule for the governor of the state. So I'm thinking that perhaps you coming in, there must have been something that wasn't there before that you have put into the office, so that people can say, this is what we're saying.
Fortunately, my experience is totally different. It could be the experience you're trying to narrate came from where it was a little bit unstructured. I came to meet a very structured pattern of governance. And once you come from a structured private sector and you meet a structured pattern of governance in the public sector, all you need to do is to flow in and make sure that you run with the machinery of that structured governance. So I came here to meet a well-structured pattern set by the leader, in this case, Chief Dr. Akpabio. And if you go and there's already a winning team on ground, and mind you, I came during the injury time. If you're coming during an injury time of government, and you meet a well-structured pattern of governance, all you need to do is to ensure that you flow with that tide and make sure things work well. I can't actually pinpoint where there were loopholes. I can only try to ensure that I collaborate and ensure that the machinery of government is well serviced, and that's what I've actually been doing. You know, I really want to assure you that what I met on ground was encouraging.